Hey guys, my name is Jane and today we have a very special video. So today we will be talking about how to be creative. I think I'm gonna have a new playlist called Art Talks, in which I will talk about different things about art and different arts and just talking about like tips and tricks. And you might be thinking, who are you to give us advice about art? Well, I'm an artist. At least that's what I like to call myself, because what else am I if I'm not an artist? Anyway, by the way, I'm gonna change my glasses. I'm feeling very self-conscious about the way that they look right now, but okay. Just a little disclaimer, I am just a person who likes to call myself an artist, and that can mean a lot of things, but I mean, art is such a personal thing, and it's just all about what you feel like doing, how you want to express yourself, and how you want to reflect on the world around you. But that sounded like a song. I just feel like I have a lot of ideas, and I just want to share them. And I don't know, just maybe it will work for you. Why not? I mean, I feel like it wouldn't hurt to just try. So I'm just gonna share some of my ideas that will help people to be creative, whether you're an artist or not. If you're just looking to be more creative, these can also work for you. But if you're an artist, or if you're trying to produce a work, whether it's like a drawing or a writing, like if you're writing a book, a play, a script, or if you are writing a song, or if you're just any kind of artist, or I mean, if you're just trying to do something that means a lot to you, I think these can all be good ideas for you. Yeah, I think these can apply to many aspects of life. I should probably get straight into the video at this point. These are actually gonna sound very easy stuff to do, and it will sound like it has nothing to do with art. So you might be like, how would that make me a better artist, or how would that make me creative? I'm just gonna say these things have worked for me a lot. They have helped me a lot, and I don't know if they will help you, because as I said, we are all different, but these are things that I think are definitely helpful, so I'm just gonna share them now. Number 1, tidy your desk. Gonna have to take that. The reason that I say tidy your desk is, and it's not just your desk, just your whole room and your whole house, and I mean this, like, let me show you. Here's the thing about art, at least that's the way that my mind works. Since there's already a lot of stuff going on in your mind that you're trying to put out there, the less distractions you have around you, the better it will be for you to just be alone with your ideas. Because when there's voice coming from all the other objects and just like everything and everyone else, your mind is not speaking loud enough. So you have to just put the voices of like just minimal distractions. Just try to have as little stuff as possible, and not just when you're working. Actually, if you manage to have like a minimalistic style to live, and I don't know, even if your wardrobe or anything, I have found that minimal distractions always give me more space for new ideas to come. Because when there's a lot of stuff in my head or in places that I see, I just am too focused on those, or I'm thinking about all other things, and there's just so many thoughts, so many voices going on, that the actual valuable ideas that I would want to portray as my artwork, just they don't have any place to come out. If that makes any sense. One more thing related to this is the second thing: finish projects that are unfinished. Either if you're not gonna do them, just decide to not do them, or finish them. Because if you have a project, or if you have many projects that are just like going on inside your head, you cannot be fully focused on a new project. I'm not saying be finished with all your projects before starting a new one, because if you're like me, who likes to write like millions of plays at the same time, or just like do a lot of things at the same time, then you might not be able to just focus on one thing at one time. That's fine. But if it gets too much, like for example, I have a shop, and even though I have only made one Excel, which is to my dad, just to check if the app was working. Please check my shop, by the way. Like, for example, I was planning on doing these cute little keychains. This is a sponsorship from my own shop. I'm just kidding. Like, I was thinking about doing these things, and they were in the back of my head. And after doing it, like, after just giving some time to finish this little product, I know it doesn't make much sense from the outside, maybe, but now that I have that thing out of my mind, like, now that that is finished, I can now think about my screenplay. I know they're completely unrelated at first sight, but when you think about it, even if they seem unrelated, when you just finish all the things that you want to do slowly, you will begin to realize that energy that you were preserving for those projects will be able to go to your next project. It just has always worked for me. It was always like, these things have always been so easily taking me out of any blocks or, just those kinds of stuff. Like, yeah. Okay. I cannot emphasize enough how much of an impact these two things have made for me. Like, if you just do these two things, it will just give you so much more space to be creative, Like, when you let your mind be free and just relaxed, and just like, when you let it have the space and energy to play, it will play. You just need to help it instead of just forcing yourself to be creative, Creativity is not something like that you can just be like, come on, get here, you little thing. You have to be like,
oh, hey, you want to play? And it's
gonna, okay, I have no clue what I'm doing. Number 3, again, this is a very, very simple thing that you can literally do right now. Open your windows. When I want to focus on something, I usually open my window, so there's just air coming in. I know it sounds so stupid, maybe. I don't know, maybe it just sounds like, what are you talking about? How's that related to being creative? It is, at least for me, it works. Because there's air coming in, and I cleaned my table, and I finished the other projects, and now I can literally, which takes me to a very important next point, have a blank paper. I cannot emphasize enough having a blank paper. If I ever do just make all my dreams come true one day, I would want this one quote of mine to be known. I know that sounds really, you know what, I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna say it. Yeah, why not? I would just want this to be, because I feel like this will be able to help anyone, not just artists, but anyone in anything. I always feel like, okay, so my dad used to tell me, when he used to help me like doing drawings and stuff, I think I had drawing lessons or like a homework or something. He would help me, and he would say, if you ever do a mistake when you're drawing, you can always turn it into something else. And when I was a child, I heard that, and I thought about that, and for some reason I understood that a lot more symbolically, other than just being able to fix the drawing that you made. Well, I don't know how this is related, but it made sense in my mind a second ago. When you have a blank paper in front of you, to me it's just endless possibilities, but at the same time, it is giving you a framework in which you can do something about it. So it's like when you have a piece of blank paper, you can do anything with it. You can find the next most important invention in the world and put it out there. You can write the next William Shakespeare play. You can, I don't know, just like design something. Or creativity begins with a blank paper. That's what has always been the case for me. Even as a child, I always loved blank papers, because what do we do when we're childs, right? We get the blank paper, we draw stuff on them. We don't think about being perfect. There's no such thing as perfection when you're a child, because everything is fun. It doesn't matter if you're doing stupid circles, everything is fun. When we just get older and have idols, we just look up to them so much. We want to be perfect, and we judge our artwork. One thing I learned from acting was, when you are judging your acting as you are acting, you will never be acting, because you are being the actor instead of the person you're trying to portray. Like, for example, if I'm trying to be Juliet, if I keep thinking about would Juliet talk like this? That's never gonna work. because Juliet is thinking about Romeo at that second, or something else, like her parents or whatever. What I'm trying to say is your judgments about the art that you're doing is going to take you from the art that you are doing. This will take us to our next point, which is very, very important for me. Sometimes when you're trying to do something new, like write a new book or write a new play, what helps me the most, this kind of relates more to writers, I think, but I think it can also be related to anything, really. The less you have, like the harder something is, you actually have a lot more ways to solve the problem. What do I mean by this? I actually heard this from a scriptwriter who came as a guest to our school as well. When you have like limited capabilities, for example, if you don't have the money to capture a Hollywood movie, or for example, that's what I did with my film Hitchhiking Wrong. Please watch it. I don't know where it is. Please, that was such a bad advertisement. I need to be better in advertising. Anyway, like for example, I didn't have a lot of money to shoot a movie, and I didn't really have time to write a script either, and I didn't have any actors, and I only had my boyfriend who was willing to do all these things with me, which was more than what I like. And I had my friends who wanted to help me, so I took them and I made a film about hitchhiking while we were hitchhiking. It works perfectly well because we went to so many locations that you would not be able to film in a set when you're in locations. It's so difficult to film on locations from what I've heard. Not that I've been on sets before, but just the fact that we were in such a hardship made it so much easier for us. I made a full-length movie while I was hitchhiking. It sounds so difficult, but it was easier than actually writing a script and just like, because that was all I had in my hands at that moment. Another example I will give about this situation is when I was writing my first ever play, it was such an important moment for me because it made me realize, wow, I just wrote a full-length something. And it wasn't as hard as I wanted to write a book before, but it wasn't that easy. This will also take us to our next point, so don't go away. I know you might be thinking, I don't care about your writing experiences, but listen. Listen. I thought to myself, technically, I could have written anything, I could have written with like these huge locations, everything. Even though I knew that I don't have that kind of money or connections or cameras or anything that I can shoot a movie or make a play like that. But I just thought that I would use not many decorations, just like a table or something, minimum amounts of decorations, which was such an amazing idea in my head, because when you have the minimum amount of decorations in a setting, like for example, my boyfriend's one of his favorite movies, The Man on Earth or something, when you are focused on one aspect, like if I have no money or no abilities to have any objects on my set, that will force me to write a story, and I will have nothing but the characters talking to each other, and that will be the base of my story. That means I will not need anything from objects or anything. I will need to depend solely on my story, and that means that my story has to be really good. And these kinds of obstacles are actually there to help you. Like when you think about it, we always think in this way, like if I was famous, if I had all these connections, I would be able to write such good scripts, I would be such a good actor and everything. And we always think, well, it's fine because I don't have these things with me right now, so who could blame me for not doing these things? Well, that's right, no one can blame you for not doing those things, but you can blame yourself. I'm not saying blame yourself, I'm just saying use what you have. When you use what you have so much more than you need. Why do I feel like a genius right now? Yeah, okay, I feel like I explained that a little bit too much. So now let's go to this next. I was gonna say this, but I'm gonna save the best one to the last because it's very important. It's not just about art, but yeah. These last two are actually really connected. Follow your impulses. Impulses are really important when it comes to creativity. You might be feeling like you have to follow someone else's impulses or someone else's words that just don't feel right for you. If you haven't learned to trust those impulses, you will feel like someone else's words or feedback might be something that you need to follow, but that's not true. It's because this is art, and art doesn't need to make sense. We don't know what art is, we just do it, you know? Nobody needs to know what art is. I mean, we all have our own opinions of art, and that's the whole thing. You have your own opinions of art, you have your own perceptions of art, so you do your own art. Art is not about impressing people. I have heard so many conversations, not intending to hear them, but people just speak about these things without really caring who's next to this. It's actually really sad to hear these things, and I feel a little bit weird talking about it, like I shouldn't be talking about it, but I just want to talk about it just in case someone hears it and is actually happy to hear this. Personally, I don't really care about what others think about what I'm doing. I mean, I do care. I can't say that I don't care 100%. I obviously do care. I'm human. But most of the time, I like what I do. Like, I like the way that I do things. And that's what you need to have. You need to have your own way of doing things, which should not be about impressing someone else. Even if you want to impress someone, which is a good thing. I understand that people want to impress other people, especially like things about like impressing other people if you just want to have a good friend group and everything. But you don't need to have a friend group to be happy. Like, people that will love you for who you are always going to be there. You don't have to look for them. They will find you. You will find each other. It doesn't matter. It's important because it's also related to art. Don't know. Here's the thing. When I'm writing something, or drawing something or whatever, everyone has their own opinions of the thing. If I tell me a story of a little girl who is successful, who becomes really successful. If I say this to 100 people, they will all have their own narratives. Someone might write a story about this girl growing up to be a very great businesswoman. Someone might write something about acting, someone might write something about singing, someone might write something about Formula One driving. Okay. You know, I'm just saying, like, everyone has their own perception. So when you're making your own artwork and someone else, even if it's an art teacher, literally, it doesn't matter. Someone tells you something. I'm not saying don't listen to feedback. Okay, don't get this wrong. Do listen to feedback, but make your own choices. Because it is your story that you're trying to tell, you know? Be open to feedback, always, but that doesn't mean you have to take it for granted. Have your own impulses. Art is driven by impulses. That's what I think. You have your own way of saying something. You have your own way of doing something. That's why some of the most famous, like the bestest of the best, like, I'm just really doing something about Formula One right now. So I know Senna. I watched his documentary and everything. And like him, for example, or I don't know, Freddie Mercury or the Beatles, and I don't know, all these kinds of people have their own way of doing things. That's what makes them so special, which takes us to the next thing. Be yourself. Fully. Not just a little bit. Be yourself fully. And how will you be yourself fully? Of course, it's not easy, but I have found recently that being yourself fully does not necessarily mean being super scared when you're being yourself. It doesn't mean you have to be super social if that's your ideal version of yourself in your head. But it means doing some stuff, even though you're afraid of doing them, even if it doesn't feel so good because of the stress, but it feels right. Like if it's wearing red tights like Blair Waldorf because you feel like doing it, or if it's like I just wrote my name Ryan Jane, you know, like if I want to say that I'm Ryan Jane, I'm gonna say that I'm Ryan Jane because that feels right to me. People might not understand why I'm doing it, they might find it weird, but I don't care because I want to do it that way. And you might want to wear orange from now on, only orange. It might be weird for me too, but if you are really liking what you're doing, if you feel your own creativity, like if you feel this energy about something, most of us just get scared of that. We don't want to look weird in front of other people. But here's the thing. People will find you weird no matter what you do. Even if you try to act cool all your life, people will find you weird. People will not like you. I have witnessed this. I'm not gonna say who it is or how it happened, but something in my life has, like, one experience has made me realize no matter what you do, you can't make people love you for sure. Some people are just gonna hate your guts even if you're super nice to them. Like, even if you think that you did everything right and they can't give you a proper reason for hating you, they might hate you. Hating you is the worst thing they can do. Then why does it matter if someone thinks you're weird? Like, how is that gonna matter? Even if it's someone that you care about. Like, I mean, here's the thing. There's a fine line about being yourself. We often think about all the things that our parents, the world says about, but you're not gonna fully be yourself if you listen to even your parents. Like, at some point, you have to just not care about even the bad comments. That's just what that's what I keep understanding these days. If there's something that I want to do, I don't think it matters if people are not gonna like it. I mean, if it turns out to be the worst possible thing, at least I tried it, at least I'm not scared to do it. Okay, so these are some really long topics to discuss. Each of these items could be discussed in a separate video, so I'm really sorry if this video was really long. But if you did like it, please let me know, because I really like talking about these kind of things. And I hope to see you in another video. Bye!